Hello, everyone. Welcome for the second edition of Total RNG. I am Josh Richardson here with Pathfinder, aka CJ Collins. We also have two special guests today, two brothers, Blake and Jason Edwards. They're here representing Charlotte Esports too. We got a lot of stuff on the build today, some really cool stuff to talk about, some really exciting stuff. So I'll let CJ. Actually, let's go ahead and Blake, you go ahead and introduce yourself first, and then we'll jump over to Jason.
Okay. Sup, guys? I'm Blake, CLT Invictus. Follow me on Twitch, by the way, CLT_Invictus. I just enjoy esports, and the fact that we've been able to get on board with these guys have just been it's been a blessing, really. It just kind of fell into our laps, and the way it's worked out has been perfect. I like to play Halo. I play some Call of Duty. I really like Apex Legends. And used to be a Fortnite guy, but that kind of fell off. But I'm just really excited to be a part of this. So excited to be here.
Cool.
Glad that you were able to kick that Fortnite bug.
Yeah.
And not everybody's able to do that. So it's kind of tough. Just be like, okay, I've had enough. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah. Oh, good stuff, man. All right. So, Jason, what's up, man? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Guys, Jason Edwards. I'm Blake's older brother. We're both
Notice
Charlotte
how he
natives.
threw older brother like first
Well-
thing. Like, yeah, I'm older.
Well, we a lot of times get confused. If people guess, 90% of the time they think Blake's older. So just to
I
set
don't
the
get
record
it.
straight. I don't know if I already said it. We're both Charlotte natives. So excited to be on with a local org. Like Blake said, big Halo guy and passionate about the esports scene. And was really fortunate to find a place where we could get plugged in. And excited to see where we can take this thing.
Yeah. What's your gamer tag?
Swish Vision.
Wish Vision. Where's that come from?
I grew up playing a lot of basketball. I think I can't even remember, to be honest. So just
like, I think
just
it's cool. Like, I like it. Swish Vision. I'm like, oh, dude.
it has just a nice ring to it. And, Blake and I grew up playing a lot of basketball too, along with a little bit of gaming. So just kind of incorporated it.
Yeah, and so I guess we'll get into like the story of how you guys found CLT Esports, right? Because I came in after all of that had happened, so I really don't know the whole story. I'm really excited for this to kind of figure out how you guys showed up at the feet of Josh and like, hey, we want to help and do XYZ thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know who wants to tell the story. I'll let whoever wants to, but one of you has to.
I actually sorry.
It's kind of 2 points of view, really.
Yeah, let's
2
get
points
it
of
both.
view.
We'll do one and then the other. Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's pretty almost simultaneous in a way.
Yeah.
The way we both kind of came on, but the facts of it, the true story is that I was sitting on my couch one day, and I was sick of working in retail, sick of these little part-time jobs, and I literally sat onto my computer and I Googled esports jobs in Charlotte. Search. And it brought me to CLT Esports, obviously, because it's two of the keywords in the search. And I perused the website a little bit and saw that they had a Streamer of the Week section posted there, and just literally took that and sent that to Blake and was like, yo, this local team is or org is starting up and they are looking for streamers to promote. And I think Blake actually sent the first email to Josh. I don't want to tell too much of his story, but I don't think there's much to it.
I was about to say, one of you guys were emailing me, and I was confused because at first I was like, wait, are these brothers? So
Yeah.
and then you had a friend also, right, that was trying to, but he like stopped emailing me. I can't
Yeah.
remember who it was.
I emailed shortly after Blake, and then I think Josh called me. And Josh, I don't know if I ever told you, during that first phone call, I was actually I was in the middle of a game of Halo as we were talking. I was on Teams. I was on
Josh for
TeamSlayer
every call.
Narrows.
He's playing Rocket League all the time.
Yeah. I was talking to Josh in the first phone interview, playing TeamSlayer Narrows, dumping on kids, of course, and just chatted it up. And I think we kind of went from there. And Blake got anything
When
to
was
add?
that? What month
That wasn't too far after you guys had started up. Maybe I don't know, Josh, do you remember November, December, turn of the year, somewhere around there?
It was no early November because we just did our first meet and greet, and you guys came to our Fortnite tournament after that.
Right.
And we had a pretty good. I mean, that Fortnite tournament was a pretty good turnout too. We've had a couple of good Fortnite tournaments at Command Post early on. We just we don't really focus a lot on Fortnite just
Was it
because
younger? Was it like a huge younger crowd that just showed up?
no, it's a mix. It's
Really?
yeah, it's I would say probably average age was 17 or 18. There was younger kids there, but um, yeah, I mean we definitely had a good turnout. But yeah, Blake's point of view might be a little bit different because he was
Yeah.
the streamer of the week and was trying to
Oh,
get
were
all that.
you? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Never made it on Instagram, by the way. So just
Oh,
gonna throw that out there.
Because
Shots fired.
I probably didn't know the login for it. That was a problem.
that's needed to change
Anyway,
hands.
yeah, from my point of view, so Jason and I, we were kind of in the same boat, just tired of our jobs, tired of working retail, the same part-time stuff all the time. And we wanted to like enjoy what we do. So, I started streaming on Twitch, probably I'd say summer of last year is when I started, got like a legit setup and everything. And I was looking for ways to market my stream more. And I'm like, okay, how can I get my name out there? How can I get people to watch me? In the same time, I was also in the lookout for esports jobs with both Jason and my roommate Gray. So everything that we found was, the major cities like New York, Atlanta, LA. That's where all the esports opportunities were. And so Jason came through and said, "Hey, look what I found. There's a local organization. They have a streamer of the week thing. You can reach out to them, give your information. They'll promote your name on their website." So I was like, okay, cool. I like this. So reached out to Josh, just gave him the rundown of wanting to grow my stream, and then made another paragraph and just in a nutshell said basically, hey, like, I like what you guys are doing. I'm glad you're trying to bring this to Charlotte. And if there's any opportunity to be a part of it, I know me and my brother are both really passionate about it. Anything you guys need help with, I want to jump on board and be a part of it. So that's when Josh responded and he was like, hey, well, we actually have a Fortnite tournament coming up at Command Post Gaming Center. And it happened to be 5 minutes down the road from me. So it was perfect. And, showed up there, just kind of saw what everyone was about and had a good conversation with Josh. And here we are. So it's been great.
Were you guys the first like people that showed up, Josh, or like was somebody else? It was you and Ty, and then who else was on at that point?
Jaben and Blake.
Okay, the other Blake.
Blake Hawkins.
Yep.
Blake Hawkins.
Those were my other.
Not me.
Yeah, Jaden hadn't came on yet. My brother was kind of there, kind of not. We had a guy named Kevin who was there. He's not with us anymore. But no,
R.I.P.
yeah, Kevin was a good guy. He had a lot of stuff going on, real life stuff. Work just couldn't make it out. So, but
Yeah.
no, it was. I mean, I guess you could say when they come on was there was only Jaden that came on after him, and then we had a few more come on, but you include after that. But no, that was pretty much the forming of the main core event team.
What so they showed up to that Fortnite. What'd you guys think when you showed up at this Fortnite tournament and like trying to figure everything out? Like what were your thoughts coming into it? Like, oh, this is crazy, or like
I don't know if Jason was there. I think he had work that day, but he was like, yo, try to make it to this. This is our chance to get in. Like we need to meet these guys. Like we got to make this happen. So I was like, you know what? Okay. I just got off work and no, I was hype. Like even though it was Fortnite, which kind of dampens the mood a little bit.
That's what I would have been like. Oh shit! Like Fortnite? Are you sure?
But-
like we couldn't have run a different tournament? Like
Yeah. But since we have a passion for esports, I was able to appreciate like the whole setup and what we had going on there. And I was like, this is so much cool. Or it's so much fun. It's really
This is
cool.
so much cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So much cool.
That's my new
Bloopers.
tagline.
So much cool. But no, it was I was excited after I left there. I was like, we got to do everything we can to get on board with this.
Yeah, I think the next event we did was the one where we had Mati Energy, and we were just like
Yeah.
taking pictures of their energy drinks all over. Like I was handing cans to people, like here, take a picture with this, and taking it back. Cause I actually like those, but pretty much from there, you guys really stepped up, and that's why we wanted to keep you guys on board because the events is, if a lot of people know, there's a lot that goes into events. These guys can tell you, anywhere from bracket management to team management, making sure teams are here and there where they need to be. There's a lot that goes into it. So
I mean, and I
Yeah.
like everything. I was super impressed. So when I showed up, you guys were reffing at Carolina Game Summit in Goldsboro, right? So that was
Yeah.
when the Call of Duty team showed up with me and Sinatra and Lewis, and we were like, hey, what is this? What's going on? Trying to figure everything out. But I just remember, like, I knew it was chaotic from like what I could see the tournament was being run and what you guys really knew about like the PlayStation and Call of Duty. So for me, it was very much like, who are these two guys that are just super calm and like not freaking out and just like, oh, in the midst of all this chaos, they're just like, yeah, it's good. This is what you guys should do. Here we go. Kind of just going through it. And that's what stuck out to me when I first saw you guys. And like, as I remember that tournament, I remember Blake and Jason because they had the MLG hoodies on. Like the MLG hoodie is like, oh, these
oh
guys
yeah.
are official. Like they're official refs. Like where'd they get these official hoodies? Like, I was like, did you work for MLG? And it was like, no, man. I'm just here.
That's actually funny because like that whole tournament, everyone was calm because we were like, there were so many issues that we had going into that tournament as far as the PlayStations. I mean, it was just like one after another. Like if we didn't have one station down, another station went down, and then it was like having to move. Like a team would sit down, get ready to play, and a PlayStation would trip offline. So then we'd have to be like, okay, well, how about you guys go over here to this group? And then it was just, ugh.
Hmm.
It was a
Yeah.
mess.
Blake, neither me or Blake have ever owned a PlayStation before, or even, I played a couple times at friends' houses growing up, like years ago, like the PlayStation 1s and 2s. So that was really learning the system and the interface for PlayStation on the fly.
Yeah.
We played Call of Duty for a while, the older ones, the Modern Warfares and the older Black Ops, but never at a high level or anything. And I paid a little attention to the pro scene. But that was a learning process too about setting up game types and things like that. So I remember the chaos, but it was almost like Blake and I were like, okay, like it's takeover time. Like,
I remember that conversation too, because it was just kind of like not a bash on Ty or Josh or anything, but you could tell they were just like thrown into it, not knowing what to do. And Jason and I just kind of looked at each other and we're like, you know what, this is it, time to take over and make this happen. Let's run this.
Yeah, thank God you did, because like honestly, I don't play PlayStation at all. I've only ever touched like Xbox, and I knew nothing about like Call of Duty. I actually haven't played shooters in forever, so going from a game like World of Warcraft to trying to run a Call of Duty tournament was like two different worlds. But no, I'm glad you guys came, because without you guys, we couldn't have done that tournament. There's no way two
Yeah.
people could have ran that tournament with as many issues we had. It would have just been non-existent.
It's crazy because I only bought a PlayStation because so Black Ops 3, which I think was 2016, Sony bought the rights for the game, so it went from a Microsoft-centric, competitive scene to PlayStation. So everyone went from Xbox, PlayStation at that point. And I just wanted to get in the competitive scene, so I bought a PlayStation for that reason. And I hate the PlayStation. The Xbox works so much better. Like the interface is so much easier.
Yep.
I can join parties either. It's faster.
Mhm.
And the PlayStation is awful. And I don't know anything about setting up the PlayStation either, because as much as I've done with the PlayStation was just like put my disc in and play my game, like my controller, like I never put my Xbox. Because I never use party chat on the PlayStation either. It's just way too much. But there was another tournament at that CGS that was a Halo tournament, right? Did they do 4s at that or 2s or what was it?
I wouldn't call it much of a.
Oh, wasn't it? It
tournament.
wasn't anything.
Blake and I know some of the guys that came out to that. We've met them from the Microsoft store here in Charlotte for the little tournaments they've held for Halo 5. And it was, I honestly was pretty upset about seeing how Halo was being run over there.
Yeah, you were. Oh my god. Okay,
Josh,
so this is so funny, dude. Like he literally came up to me like fuming. And I was like, dude, what's wrong? He's like, bro, they are running this Halo tournament into the ground. That guy doesn't play Halo. He doesn't play on the console that they're using. Like, he doesn't know what he's doing. I've got friends that are here playing in this. Like, I was like, dude, it's okay. Calm down.
It was a
like,
disgrace to the franchise. He will
Yeah,
be
because you were embarrassed,
out of
right?
the
You told
great
your
journey.
friends to come play, and it was like a crappy Halo tournament, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And I mean, we want to see Halo get back to the way it was in the glory days. We can touch on that a little later. But yeah, in regards to the CGS Halo, it was just a little bit of scrimming. Rules and formats got changed. It was awful.
Yeah,
but it was on Xbox, so it was still just
It
a
ran
tad
smoothly.
better. They could set the games up quickly, but that's about it.
Yeah. So I guess from that, like, you guys are still super into Halo now. Like, that's your game, both of you. It's like there's no other game in the world except for Halo right now.
Right.
Right.
I guess a little backstory on Halo, and we follow the exact same timeline, so it's the same story for both of us. We both started with Halo Combat Evolved, the first one, almost on release. A friend had it, and we went over. He was having a birthday party. It was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 of us there, and so we split screened. And we're just like, yo, the shooter it's awesome, and didn't play Halo 1 a ton, but then when Halo 2 dropped and the world exploded, that was a defining moment in gaming in general, Xbox Live and things like that. But then we were like fully engrossed.
Oh, sorry, everyone. Looks like we're going to have to cut this part and then pick up in a second.
Caught
old
almost
ones
all
on ESPN that showed
exactly.
up. You can watch
Chris
like
Tucker's
straight ripping and
top
carving.
10 plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the glory days, and so and just all the same since then. It's tailed off a little bit, and we sort of tailed off with it into Halo 2 Anniversary and Halo 4. The scene kind of dipped off, resurged a little bit with Halo 5 because the younger gaming community came up through into that, and we're seeing some young stars in Halo come up, and now we're kind of back on Halo 3. If anyone's kind of paying attention to what's going on, DreamHack Dallas was last weekend, and I saw every match, but maybe 2.
Oh, really? But was it super competitive? Like,
oh yeah. Because guys complained about illegal glitch spots, and
what?
guys were jumping up onto parts of the map, and other teams were like, "Hey, yo!" Like, and so they did full replays of some games, and so like the guys still care. They don't look like they care. A lot of the players look like, oh, they're just they care. Halo 3 is like most Halo players will say Halo 2 or 3 are like their games, and they're passionate about it.
Well, that kind of segues us into like what you guys are doing for CLT Esports right now, because you've kind of sat in this referee position for a while, and I think we're transitioning you guys to managing our Halo roster, right? Because we're looking at players and trying to develop what that looks like for CLT and the future of Halo. If you guys want to talk about that a little bit.
You go ahead, Blake. I've talked a bunch already.
Oh, you're good.
I'll follow you up. I'll fill in.
Yeah, essentially like Jason touched on, the older Halos are kind of making a comeback right now, and they're about to be released on PC. So there's a lot of hype coming back to Halo because everyone's like, most people aren't a fan of the newer Halos. So with the older Halos coming back into the competitive scene, being on PC, which is obviously a lot more powerful. I'm not a fan personally of the whole mouse and keyboard thing, but hopefully that's on controller. But no, Halo's just making a comeback, and they're putting a lot of time and effort into the next Halo. So there's a lot of hype around the franchise in general on not only old Halo coming back, coming to PC, but Halo Infinite being worked on for next year. And so that's where we're wanting to step in and create a team, a Halo team for CLT Esports, and to kind of put our name into the mix
Shameless
of the competitive scene before it gets really big.
There's a shameless plug to try to get. Hey, if you're interested, hit up Blake and Jason. Blake, it was at Blake. No, you're Blake E at CLTesports.com. Jason E at CLT-esports.com. Sorry,
Just
guys.
Jason. Just
Oh,
Jason.
Can we edit that? Like, put it under our faces, like as you said that. That'd be cool.
So maybe in future
animation
podcasts,
slides,
we get more like involved. These are just
we're doing raw cuts right now. That definitely something in the future. But like
people like it.
Yeah, no, I think raw is good because then you get to see like our interaction, because that's what the podcast is about, right? Like we want to see your interactions and you guys as managing the Halo team. Like if anybody wants to be involved with the Halo, make sure you comment at the video and say, Blake, Jason, I want to try out for the team, or contact us on Twitter and we'll set up a tryout so you can kind of meet some of the other players we currently have. figure out if it's something that meshes well, especially if you're in the Charlotte area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you play Destiny, I don't care to hear it. There's not a Destiny scene, so you know who you are. I'm not going to mention you. I'm sure you'll
Get it out of
message
the way.
me after you watch this. But if there was an actual Destiny scene, I would be more willing to talk about it. But Destiny is not Halo, and Halo is making a comeback. From what I've seen, honestly, from what
Yeah.
I've heard from everyone talking, is that this is going to be huge for Halo. The Halo
Is the
esports.
Yeah.
is the announcement
Older.
this weekend?
Yeah, there's going to be some sort of announcement at E3 coming up on the 9th.
Yeah.
Microsoft has their slot at 4 p.m. Eastern. So tune in for that. We might hear a little bit about the release of Halo Reach beta for PC. That's their first scheduled release. And then subsequently down the line of Halos will be released gradually. And then hopefully something with Infinite. The community's dying for content or
Yeah, for
some
sure.
sort of information on Halo 6, if you will.
Yeah.
Boy,
So,
Pathfinder's gonna make the comeback to the scene. It's coming.
You have
Everybody
to
get
get
scared.
through
Hey,
us.
I have a clip. Don't
You're
make me
gonna
pull
have
that
to get
back out.
So
Doesn't exist. Never happened, dude.
E3 will be a big event then. Unfortunately, no one from CLT Esports will be at E3, so we won't be able to see it. But we'll be watching. We'll be watching. I'm almost positive all of us will be watching it. Um,
On
kind of.
Sunday, going to
Uh-huh.
the Microsoft store.
Come
if
out-
anybody
yeah,
sees
come-
this before. Yeah, so we're going to the Microsoft store and we're going to watch it as some of the team. So if you guys want to come hang out,
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to talk Halo, kind of if you're interested in playing, you can give us your handles or send us clips, montages, whatever.
Is that
That's
going
how
to be
we-
there?
White Shadow?
I didn't talk to
I'm
White
not
Shadow.
sure. I think he said
He
he
signed
is.
up for it while he was there.
Oh,
I haven't talked to him about it since, but I mean, he actually signed up for it, so
Okay.
I would assume he's going to be there.
Kind of taking that, what we're E3 and all these big esports conventions and stuff like that. I guess we can kind of segue also into, kind of what we touched on last night. This whole esports movement and the esports bubble that me and CJ, have kind of, not saying that we are jaded to esports at all, but we keep, we are very reserved about the direction that we want to take. We don't want to get so far ahead of ourselves in the wrong direction in esports that when this bubble pops, there's no saving us, and we can't recover. Basically the idea of this bubble is that in the next 2 or 3 years, money's going to pull out because people aren't going to get their ROI back. Sponsors are going to see they're not getting the return, and even investors, and they're going to pull out. And a lot of these a lot of these big franchise models and franchise teams are going to be the ones that get hit the hardest because that's where they make all their money. That's why we're kind of what me and CJ have talked about, and what I think everyone else has kind of agree on too, is kind of market ourselves as an esports organization, but also a content organization. We provide the esports lifestyle. We show people what it's like to be in the organization, to be on one of our teams, what we do behind the scenes, other than just tournaments, lands, all that stuff. We want to show the other side, and we feel like that there's a lot more value in that, especially for a sponsor or for an investor, and it's a lot more solid for return on investment, because even if esports, the bubble does pop and everything kind of levels out, you still have influencers that are going to be pulling in big numbers for games that are solid bets. Like if you want to sponsor one of them, that's a solid bet. You're getting your money's out. So, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Like, what do you guys like? Where do you see esports going? Obviously, it's still going to grow. That's more of a pessimistic view of where esports is going to go. You can still. There's a lot of people still optimistic that don't believe that the bubble is going to pop. I mean, there's going to be some form of uh, not so much explosion. It'll calm down a little bit, but it'll keep growing. By 2022, it's going to be a $3 billion industry, is what they're saying. So, what are your guys' thoughts? Are you guys more pessimistic or more optimistic about where esports is headed?
I I wouldn't call myself optimistic, but we definitely do pay attention to the scene, and I think you touched on the industry and where it's going to be. Blake and I were part of the generation coming up where gaming was very stigmatized by our parents and by, I guess, the generation before us in the sort of the blue collar working force, or the go to college and get your education. And so gaming was seen as a time waster, a brain fryer, things like that. And that's not the case anymore. Blake can touch on it with the kids he sees it where he works at Best Buy. But we're looking at kids that are ending up with really expensive setups for streaming. And these kids are like 11, 12 years old, and it's
Oh,
being
they're not tell
promoted.
Twitch because they're underage.
Yeah, well, that's not my problem in this particular segment.
I know.
So,
I just sell it, okay? Leave me alone.
yeah, we're all of age in CLT, so I'm not worried about it. That's the underage streamers' problems. But in terms of making content outside of hosting tournaments or going to tournaments and stuff, it's absolutely something that we would need to take advantage of and work on. If you look at a lot of the bigger named organizations,
Yeah.
you got like 100 Thieves with Nadeshot as CEO and all them. Like they put out YouTube content. Optic. I loved the EG Evil Geniuses Halo team when they were still going with and there's weekly content they're posting out. It's like a day in the life of or a gaming house tour, and people love watching that. Like I have a video saved ready to watch for the 100 Thieves gaming house, so I'll watch that tonight after my wife goes to bed. Constant research, and I think that's something that we as a group at CLT would be very good at. We have some great characters and personalities.
Well, I felt like we've done that. We've been doing that, and I feel like the more we push it, the better we'll get at it. I mean, if you look at all of our videos from all of our events, or, even just some of the people that we have that do their own like vlogging, like we do a very good job at showing not just the esport being played, but we show the more personable side of us, and I really like that. Our production team does an amazing job at capturing that. Real quick, while we're talking about this, let me just take a quick shout out to our sponsors. First and foremost, I'd like to thank My Computer Career for their sponsorship. They are our first corporate sponsorship. They're the ones who basically let us use their area for LAN. They're really excited about working with us in this space. I'm a graduate from there. It's an IT trade school. It's a very very good school to go to if you've been trying to switch careers. Like I was working in construction, I hated it, and I wanted to start working with computers so I could be around gaming more. My computer career gave me that chance. It's not expensive. It's very very reasonable. I don't by any means am I have a lot of money. So they work with you on your budget. Go see Karen up at the Charlotte campus if you're in Charlotte. There's a Raleigh campus. I don't know the campus director there, but they'll take care of you. Our second sponsor, Web Real Simple. They are the best. When it comes to building websites, you want to look professional. You don't want to look like a secondhand, Wix built site. I only say that from experience because our site was built by Wix at first, and then we had some consulting with Web Real Simple, and they are currently building our new site for us. And the work that they do is absolutely insane. Go to webrealsimple.com, check them out if you're interested. Email them, let them know that you heard about them through us. But they are extremely professional. The websites are out of this world, people. They're out of this world. But yeah, that's it for the sponsor part. Just want to say thank you to the sponsors. Also, CJ, drum roll for the winner of the shirt. Go ahead. Who is it?
I want to get one and then throw it up real quick.
Okay. He's got the winner. He's got the winner, guys. So. Here we go.
Okay. The winner of this Prime CLT Esports t-shirt with great logos on the back, great logos on the front. It fits nice. It keeps you clothed.
Yep.
It's always a good first thing.
Is Burley Jacks. Burley Jacks, send me a message. We're going to hook you up with this shirt. We'll send it to you on us. Thanks for being part of the CLT crew.
Congrats, Shane.
Yeah, it's a really really cool shirt. Like I said, I really like the shirts. I thought the design turned out great. We're gonna have more shirts and more merchandise here in the very near future. Just waiting on a few things to come through, but expect hats, stuff like that. All right, so let's jump back into it. There's been a lot of talk, as you guys know, with Optic and their whole brand, which is unfortunate. Just bad merger that went south. Um, there is a lot going on with esports orgs and players and contracts. Right now, Tfue and FaZe
Yeah.
have been going at it. I've been doing a lot of research into this too. Um, at first I was very much on FaZe's side until I sat back and then I took the emotion out of it because I realized that FaZe was trying to play off the emotion side, the oh this is my best friend, E2 Brute type thing. And then I had to look at more from like a business side of it, and pretty much every box that you should avoid from check marking when you're doing like a press release, FaZe Banks hit all those boxes, and it was just an absolute nightmare. Like his legal team, PR team, probably like, look, we're actually just gonna quit because we can't help you. I mean, it's really bad. But kind of moving past that whole scenario, I feel like this is really gonna shake up how contracts are delegated, how players are going to be looked at. They've got the labor commission that's going to be looking into this now. So what it comes down to is organizations that were taking advantage of these young players coming in that had extreme promise. They're taking advantage of that. And I don't know the ins and outs of what happened, but I do know businesses, and I know how they tend to lean more towards taking more money, paying less out. And like I said, I don't know the ins and outs. I'm not blaming anyone for it, but I definitely feel it's a good thing for both organizations and players. It gives good structure. That way it's not like someone comes in and they're like, I'm worth this much. Well, no, you're not worth this much. This is how much everyone else gets paid. It's like going to be a blanket. I feel more like a blanket, kind of like how there's minimum wage in jobs. There's going to be like a kind of an idea of what we can look at for new players coming in. So I mean, what are your guys' take on that whole situation and what is going to come out from that?
Like you got, I don't know how much you followed. I've been.
That's the thing. I haven't kept up with a lot of that, if I'm being honest.
I can talk about it for a second. So
Yeah,
I
sure.
think that the bubble that you're talking about, Josh, kind of ties into what the contract scene looks like, right? Because all this money is getting thrown at esports, right? We have a $50 million Philadelphia facility that's going to be an esports arena. That those guys aren't going to see that $50 million back, right? We have LCS spots that are $15 million a pop. CWL is going to be $25 million a pop, and like all this money's coming into it, and like advertisers and other people that are getting involved and spending money, like they're not going to see their investment. Like there's no way you're going to get $25 million back from what you're buying into the CWL league. It just doesn't. That money's not going to come back in the way you wanted it to, because advertisers, as they're looking at it, they're not they're not getting their return on investment when it comes to like their brand. So for example, if Team Splice is pushing Red Bull, so Red Bull, I don't know who their actual sponsor is, but just an example. So it's pushing Red Bull. The actual team.
Corsair. I think they were Corsair.
There you go, Corsair. That's a better example. So Corsair, Splice. I don't know what their content looks like from their players, but I can tell you I've never seen a video with any of their players on it, right? So I know for a fact that Corsair is not getting the money that they want from Splice, right? When it comes to their customers going to Corsair and buying the mouse because they see it on there, right? And I'm sure that a contract of that sponsorship is super expensive, right? But they're finding that like people like Courage or Tfue is another good example, or Nadeshot, who are just content creators. People buy from them. Whoever their sponsor is actually purchases from them. And that's why I think we're pushing towards content, because, I mean, it makes sense because our teams as a whole aren't pushing stuff, content in that way, where we're going to create content creators and be able to see behind the scenes to be able to advertise to kind of counter that bubble, if you would, so that advertisers, when they come in, get their return on investment.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these big companies have missed the mark in marketing. They're taking all this money in. They're buying all these fancy, flashy things. But like you said with Splice, I've seen one video of Splice, and only because their Rocket League team has a female on it that plays in the RLCS. She's the only female. So that is the only reason I even know about that they have anything. If that was us, if we're getting all that money, guess what I'm doing? I'm making videos of that team. I'm
Yep.
creating content. I'm following them around. I'm doing all this. I'm taking that money and then I'm paying for these advertisements for these videos that people watch, trying to get people clicking them, all that stuff. I don't see any of that coming from my end. And that's, as someone who watches a lot of esports, and these conventions and goes to these conventions, I'm just not seeing people putting the money in the right spot.
Yeah.
There are some, like for instance, Optic with Hex. Hex is a content creator. That's what he is. At the end of the day, yes, he started Optic, he ran it, but he wanted to create content, and he has his own brand. And his brand right now, guess what? Optic is going bye bye, but Hex and his brand is staying because
Yeah.
he
Mhm.
I'm
created the
sure he'll
brand.
make another brand and kind of go off.
Absolutely, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's fine.
it's like, why not have a organization that can capture that content creation and help push the organization brand as well as each of the players and influencer. Because like, yeah, we're going to be doing content, but we still want to support our teams as much as possible. We still want to play in tournaments. We still want
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
show up and be on the first place. So, by saying content, content, content doesn't mean that we're not focusing on teams. We're just adding to the what we're already doing and going above and beyond. We're going plus ultra to make sure that we hit that next level.
Yeah.
So,
Plus, the
Yeah,
content
it's
makes it more personable. You kind of, I mean, you're watching a team compete and stuff, and all you're seeing is, using Halo as an example, you just see these guys glued to their screen, just, competing in
yeah.
these events, but you don't see like behind the scenes, the type of people they are. And like Jason said earlier, these Halo guys, a lot of them look like they don't care just because they're that focused into the zone of the event itself that you don't know how awesome a lot of these guys are until you see their content, whether it be YouTube or Twitch or whatever platform anyone uses. You're seeing more of the personal side of these people.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Especially if they're making like plays in the game. So like somebody that makes plays in the game, and then I want to know who that player is making those plays,
yeah,
right? Seeing the guy
exactly.
behind behind whoever the player is.
well,
Well,
that's where Josh touched on Splice. I think kind of developing a strategy for us in the future about being attentive to all fronts, competing and venues as well as content and etc. Splice had a very dominant Halo team, Halo 5 team, not too long ago that took down arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Halo dynasties of all time in Optic Gaming when they were with Halo, and now
Yeah,
they're
lethal in them.
they're now
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
Tox. Yeah, Lethal, Snakebite, Royal 2, and Frosty. They ran the table for a while, and then Splice came in with the young guns. No one on that roster was older than, well, Eco when he was with them was a little older, but they were mainly younger. And they just like they toyed with Optic, and it's like people are like, oh, yo, like this team's taking down Optic, and like it's just these young kids, and they look like they're not even trying, and like this is movement and gaming we've never seen before. And that was it. If you didn't watch Twitch in the tournaments or follow up videos on YouTube, you didn't know anything about them. And I think that was unfortunate because it's like Blake said, it's and CJ touched on it too about who's making these plays. You've got a face and you've got a name and you've got some clips, and that's about it. And so I think we've got a lot laid before us to kind of like the do's and don'ts of navigating the esports scene as an up and coming organization.
well,
Yeah.
and we're at this weird point, right? So we are the biggest esports organization in Charlotte. Hands down, we do the biggest lands. We have the biggest staff, which is, well, now we're up to what, 11 people. But as far as like what we do, we are the biggest organization. Um, Getting people in and getting our name out there. Um, so we're at this weird point where Charlotte doesn't have a lot of esports going on. So when people Google Charlotte Esports, they're going to see us. So like we're already kind of known as that. Like we can't mess up. We want to do Charlotte right. We want to make sure that people know that you know, we are going to be the next big thing on the East Coast, the next big esports org that's going to be taking over. We're doing it the right way, methodically. We're hitting up the right people. Right now it's really one of those things where we're waiting on, for the right people to notice what's going on, and it takes time. But it also comes down to the point where this content. It's the same thing as if we were a big organization looking for like a series, round two, series B funding or something. We're trying to get these big names to look at us, and the only way to do that is by having content. Yeah, it's great to have the winning team, but in esports, you guys know, players and contracts, they jump around like crazy. So you might have a winning team this season, but guess what? Your team might go get a better offer, and they're going to shoot over to another team. So like you can't rely on the players just for everything. You need to have good content coming out and a good staff behind it, putting on good events, making awesome lands. We have some big lands events coming up with obviously everything we talk about in our meetings. I don't want to say it here quite yet, but some big stuff for the fall we have planned, and then some stuff for next year that's absolutely out of this world. Um, but you guys are right. It really comes down to looking at the people who have already kind of messed up, figuring out why they messed up, and kind of moving forward from there. And as long as we can stay ahead of everything, especially if this esports bubble thing is happening, then we'll be okay. And I feel like as a team, we all are on the same page. I haven't heard anyone say, no, that's a dumb idea. Everyone's like, no, that's a great idea. So, really, I think we're running a pretty good ship. It comes down to making sure we all stay on the same page. But we're doing it for Charlotte. We're making sure that whatever happens, we're not going to leave Charlotte. Headquarters will be here in Charlotte. We may open up like a satellite, studio somewhere. But for the most part, we're going to be in Charlotte. I mean, it's literally in our logo. We can't be Charlotte. We can't be Charlotte Esports in
We
Utah.
can't move.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out.
I guess
to
it is the Carolina. Now that I think about it, it's not the Charlotte Panthers, the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. Hey, David Tepper, what's up, man?
We're gonna have to rebrand, is what it is. We're gonna get so big that we're just gonna have to get a new brand.
We'll get bought out.
There you go.
Yeah. Like I said, David Tepper, what's up, my guy? If you're watching this, but no, it's we have a really good. I think we have a really good path laid before us. We're already doing like all the really hard work. It will obviously stay hard, but we'll get so used to doing it that it's going to become second nature. We already have we have fans, Burley. I'll even go as far as to say
Matrix,
I'll even go so far as to say that the Carolina gaming crew like Matrix and them they're
Dude,
cool.
we were blowing up on Twitter today when I don't even know who it is, but it is this organizer of COD tournaments, and they have like 4K followers, and they're hitting me up asking me like, hey, do you want us to come and supplement with you for a COD event? And like it got like 50 likes within like half an hour, and everyone's like, yeah, we want another Call of Duty event in Charlotte to partner with this specific org, and I forget what their name is. I think it's AGN or something like that.
Well, it's because our production, for real, like our production value is really high, and we pride
I think
ourselves.
I think it's because we're central as well. Like people don't have to go all the way to Florida or all the way to New York.
Mhm.
It's kind of in the middle for a lot of people.
Yeah, we got lucky with that.
Yeah,
But shout out to the whole stream crew also that they're all volunteers.
we're gonna have them on the stream one day, and we got lots of people lined up for the podcast.
Yeah, we do.
They're gonna be here. You're gonna see them. You're gonna meet them.
Next week is going to be a fun one, so everyone knows we will be going, and we're coming for you, Command Post. We're going to be doing the podcast live. Well, it'll be live when we record it at Command Post, and it's going to be a fun time. So if anyone here that's watching this wants to come out next Wednesday, I think we said 7 o'clock. We're going to be there.
Yep.
We'll probably be there a little earlier, but come on by Command Post. We'll all be there. We'll be playing games, doing the podcast live, just kind of getting to meet everyone again. But yeah, it'll be a fun time, so come on out.
Come get trashed in some Halo.
Yep. Oh, and I'm sure Jet's
Ask
Pizza
CJ
will
about
work
that.
with us on getting us some good deals. I love Jet's Pizza. I'll eat that all
Yeah,
day.
it's
That
good.
pizza's so good. I know you like it. I keep watching that STEM video where you just like yep. He loves it. But whose pizza was that? That wasn't Jets. That was
That was Hungry Howie's.
Hungry
yes,
Howie's.
yes. I saw they have a billboard right down the road from me, and I'm like, when did this get here? And the pizza looks good. It looked really good.
You can also, I love that when we go to our YouTube channel, you see Blake and Jason's face in both the videos. Blake's is in our newest Call of Duty video, and then Jason's is in the STEM video.
Oh yeah, they're the.
You guys are like the stars of our YouTube channel, honestly.
We made it.
You guys
We made it. We're
Yeah.
here, Mama.
Mom,
We made it, Mama.
Dad.
But yeah, we I think we've pretty much hit on a lot of the stuff. I just want to go over where we'll be next. GexCon, that's where we are going to be. We're still working out logistics, but we will be there. Charlotte Esports, someone, if not all of us, will be there, hanging out, doing the thing, supporting our teams. Are going to be there. It's going to be a really fun event. If you guys don't know about it, go check it out. I think it's gexcon.com. GEXCON. You guys can Google it. Do what I do.
It's on our pinned tweet and our Twitter.
Yeah, go to our Twitter at esportsclt or Instagram at esportsclt. Facebook's
We're gonna be there hanging out. We'll probably go to Top Golf too. All the fans are welcome to come hang out at Top Golf.
Yep.
So it'll be good.
Yep.
I think that's gonna wrap it up for this one.
Yep.
Any shout outs? Last call.
Shout outs to the CLT babes. How about that?
Oh, the CLT babes.
Yeah, shout out to my wife Lauren.
There we go. That's what
that has come on board, I guess, with this whole thing. It took some explaining.
We won her over.
I
Lauren, this is for you. Yes.
Yeah. Josh, I talked with Victoria at STEM and just kind of picked her brain about how the whole thing was leading up to you starting, and just kind of compared notes, I guess, with what I've heard from my wife and what Victoria said, and they want us to still be responsible and just all the husband duties and stuff are still met, but this is our passion, and they want us to love what we do, and so in the end they're on board as long as it's I guess realistic
as long
in a
as
way.
it doesn't get in the way of everything else like it does.
Like honestly, for the longest time, funny thing, Lauren didn't know for the longest time that I was as into gaming as I was.
Oh, man.
And I had the Xbox and the monitor hidden for a little while. I was I need to gradually work this in and not just go full force full MLG Halo on her one day. Like I'm in the living room
she's like, babe, do you want to go out tonight? You're like, I think tonight I'll try something else.
Yeah. Now's a good time to tell you something a little about me. We're about a year into our marriage, so that was a good time. So no, she's been great, and yeah.
Also, Blake is looking for his CLT babe. Okay.
Yeah, so
She's
ladies out there watching, he's single, ready to mingle.
He works out every day.
That's me.
Yep, that's him. And look at his bedroom. It's so nice. See?
Yeah.
I even made my bed. I was so excited for this. I made my bed. Look at this.
Oh,
look, ladies, that's where all the magic happens.
You're a Panthers fan?
Chill.
Look at that. You can see it right there.
Hey, we Edwards make good-looking kids. I've already proven that. So, ladies,
Wow.
if you're worried about your potential offspring, you're not going to miss out with compact me.
The only downfall is that they play Halo all the time. That's it.
Yeah.
Other than that, you guys are good. They could.
All right, we're gonna create
I wouldn't say all the time.
The babies of CLT are gonna be the next CLT team in like 20 years. They're gonna be like, we're gonna raise all our kids all to play a game together and be like, all right, you guys are gonna go be pro players for us now. Have a good day.
Pass the torch.
Well. All right, boys. Well, that's a good podcast. Let's wrap it up. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Check in next time. If you can't make it to Command Post, next Wednesday around 9 o'clock, we should have it up there. But yeah, tonight.
Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe to all the podcasts. You can be in tune with what we're doing because we're going to announce events here. This is going to be a great place for a lot of news, and you get to know everyone that we bring on for the staff.
Yep. So, all right, guys, thanks so much. Until next time, rise above.